Welcome, loves. This is Sarah Sparks, and welcome back to Floating on a Cloud podcast. And we get to have a fabulous conversation today with Rebecca Russell. She and I are FemCity members and friends. I'm getting to know her better and better every day. But I wanted to bring her on today and introduce her to you because the conversations we've been having has been around um, her expertise as an essential oil expert, as an author and speaker. And I wanted to talk more and have her share her expertise around using essential oils for meditation and emotional support. I just feel like she has a wealth of knowledge that could really be beneficial to us. So welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm very excited to be here.
Yes, yes. So let's just start with the basics of what are essential oils.
Okay, so they are extracts from plants, and they come from all different parts, the leaves, the flowers, the stems, and also can be from trees or fruit even.
Okay.
And each one has unique properties that will help support the mind, body, and spirit in different ways.
Okay. Okay. So they are extracted from plants, trees, flowers, fruits, plant base in general.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And we don't need to know all the how. If I'm sure there are numerous ways of how and all the things, but I'm sure
Yeah,
people.
all the processing is different for each thing, and
Yes,
yes.
yes. So how did you find them? Or did they find you?
Well, they found me basically. I was already living a holistic lifestyle for 20 some years, which means for anyone who doesn't know that is instead you're treating the whole body. Whenever anything comes up, you are not just treating symptoms, you're getting to the root cause of what's going on. And what spurred me in that direction was at 35, I was diagnosed as pre-diabetic, and it is in the family. And I saw what their traditional path, where that led, and that was not pretty to me. It was awful. And, but back then there really weren't a whole lot of alternatives. And I was living in Dallas, which much more progressive than Ohio, where I'm from. And so I took the holistic path, was able to stay off medications, uh, basically through quality supplements and lifestyle changes. I avoided that diagnosis for 20 some years.
Okay.
And so it works for me.
Hmm.
And then we moved to Tennessee. And while I was at work, the only medication I was on in my 50s was Xanax. And it was not for anxiety, it was for sleep. I had this racing brain thing.
Okay.
And I tried everything. First, of course, natural solutions, but I didn't know about the oils. I tried everything over the counter. I tried even other prescriptions. Nothing else worked. And although I hated being on it, I had to sleep. And so a gal at work said, I know you're holistic. Would you want to try the oils? Yes, yes. Absolutely. So that was, you know, I feel very divine intervention for someone to share them with me. And then at my first class, I love to learn. So the first class I went to, not only was the woman presenting about the oils and about doTERRA, which is the brand that I only use, um, the heart of the company, which hit me in the heart. And she was a type 2 diabetic that had reversed her disease with the oils and lifestyle changes. And so I'm just sort of being like bombarded with all these amazing things. And as I'm sitting there, I have a vision literally of me up front teaching a class. Now I know next to nothing about the oils. I'm brand new.
Hmm.
I'm not fearful of speaking in front of people. That's not a big deal. But I was already working full time, tired. Just I was hoping other people's dreams come true, and I was happy to do that. But it was definitely divine guidance and so forth that had me start a business at 58. because that was my game plan.
Yeah.
So, but I did accept the challenge. So,
Yeah.
and up leveled with the oils. And we did find a blend that works for me. It's not a one size fits all. You have to be patient and figure out what works for you. But I am off that. I don't worry about sleep. It's just amazing. So
Really? Okay, so you are not on Xanax anymore because of the oils and you finding your particular blend
and lifestyle changes.
and lifestyle changes.
Have
Okay.
to do those things too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very
They're not magic pills.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you do have to do some work.
Yeah.
It's worth it though. It is so worth it.
And diabetes, you have
I don't even test pre-diabetic. Now I do if genetics are strong. I do if I don't do the things. If I, around the holidays, I dip back into that. But my goal is to not do that. But we're all a work in progress. But to see those numbers, to know I know what to do, it's liberating. It's powerful.
Yeah. So how do the essential oils aid in your spiritual connection and growth, or do they?
Oh yeah, yeah. They because I do still have the racing brain, it just doesn't keep me up at night. It's extremely challenging for me to focus. And I think a lot of people have that. We think we have to multitask, which we know now it's been proven that's not helpful, but we still think we need to do it. But there are certain oils that are very calming to the brain. And so those same oils that help turn that off at night for me actually help during the day as well, but they don't necessarily make me sleepy. So it's, you just you anchor your emotion, your mental state with that smell. So if I'm going to meditate and I use a certain oil when I meditate, that is a trigger for my brain and body and spirit. Okay, this is what we're doing.
Okay.
So that is one way. And then also just some of the oils are so great at emotional healing. If you are carrying around a lot of baggage, it's very hard to focus. It's hard to care about spiritual wellness, maybe, because you're carrying all that heaviness. So the oils can work in that regard with the emotional healing. And
can you go in depth of like how so?
Well, there are certain oils, like rose, for instance. Rose has the highest vibration of any of the oils.
Really?
It's the oil. Each oil has a emotional component to it.
Okay.
Every oil. And rose is the oil of divine love. So of course, love has the highest vibration. So when you are applying the oil to your heart, a lot of people do that before I go on to your podcast. Apply the oil to my heart. That opens up my heart to receive from other people, and then also to give. So it's so interesting and fascinating, I think.
So let's say someone has anxiety. Is there an oil or an oil blend, or sometimes, I've heard that when someone is worrying, they're thinking about the past. And when someone has anxiety, they're worrying about the future. Or not worrying, but they're thinking about the future. So it's like creating anxiety, that feeling, or worry. So I know it has a lot to do with our mindset. But also, is there an oil that does it like go into the bloodstream, or I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know anything about this.
So these are all good questions. Yeah. We don't have enough time to go into real in depth, but oils like frankincense, sandalwood, those are from trees. So when you think about it, trees have deep roots, right?
Mhm.
So it's not a random thing that frankincense and sandalwood are very grounding.
Okay.
So it's very
So if you're
logical.
so the anxiety, so let's say you are putting your mind too far into the future and it can't really keep up with the body. So then that vibration of anxiety is like
Mhm.
trying to keep up with the mind that's too far in the future. So the grounding of the tree of the sandalwood or frankincense
Frankincense.
would bring you back into alignment or bring you back into your body and ground you into that.
Yep. And
Okay.
allow you to focus.
Okay, and allow you to
So a
focus.
lot of
So you can
people
be in the
before
here
they
and now instead of
Mhm.
in the future and the past. Okay.
So a lot of people before they meditate, or I in the first, in the mornings a lot, will just put a drop of frankincense under my tongue. The taste isn't great, but I love what it does. It just clears that brain fog. And I don't have anxiety. I'm blessed. I don't. There are
Mhm.
one or two triggers one time a year or something. It's just I'm very blessed in that way. But
Mhm.
I know a lot of people that do deal with it on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So there are, and what's wonderful too is there's many different oils that help with anxiety and stress. So if one does not happen to do it for you, there are so many others to try. We all
Mhm.
have individual chemistry. We're made uniquely. So
Mhm.
it's not a one size fits all. That's what you have to understand. Just like if you went to the drugstore and you picked up a leave for a headache and it didn't work, does that mean you're not going to try anything else? Which I don't use anything from a drugstore, but if you did,
Yeah.
I use oils. So, but then no, you try a leave, you try Tylenol, you try different things. We don't think twice about that.
Mhm.
But with the oils, we sometimes get impatient, or and the beauty is frankincense you can use for so many different things. You don't have to throw it in the trash.
Mhm.
Uh, there's tons. It's the king of oils. When in doubt, use frankincense. So
Yeah.
it's never wasted.
Mhm. Mhm. Oh, let's see here. What else was I so
So
curious about?
sandalwood is a wonderful oil for grounding as well. A lot of people use that for meditation.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, so they could use them for meditation. So sandalwood, frankincense, rose, you have mentioned some
Yes.
all for
And one
meditation.
that you may not know much about is it's Tulsi, and it is the other name it goes by is holy basil. And I have it diffusing right now. This oil is amazing for anxiety. It has a very light smell, and it is the oil of, because each one has a component, the oil of spiritual awakening and harmony.
Mm.
It's just beautiful, and it's from India. It's from a sacred plant in India. They've used it for centuries for healing,
Mhm.
and but it's an adaptogen, and it helps the body and mind adapt to stress and restore balance.
Hmm.
I mean, it clears emotional blockages, helps with emotional release, and helps you embrace a more optimistic outlook on life. What's not to love about that?
For sure. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
I
it's so fun. It's so interesting.
is there some that I feel like someone gave me some doTERRA oils? Is there like something with like are there certain blends too? Are there oils like
Right.
the frankincense and like maybe like oneness or like I feel like there's like a name, but I
Well,
maybe
balance is
balance.
one that's used typically for anxiety,
Okay.
and it has frankincense in it.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. Balance and serenity are the two oils blends. When put together, they are fondly called liquid Xanax.
Ah, very cool. But then without the side
With
effects.
correct, no addictions, no, nothing.
Yeah.
So we have
Um,
options. We don't have to stay. What's worse, trying to meditate when you're anxious, you're blocked, you're, just how do you meditate with that? I mean, how
Yeah.
do you get in touch with spirituality or anything when you are so overwhelmed and blocked? And cypress is the oil of motion and flow. And we all carry some sort of baggage typically, unless we've really worked for years on our healing. So I diffuse that almost every day because I'm a very strong-willed, stubborn person.
Mhm.
It's hard for me to let go. So that's an oil that comes up for me a lot.
Mhm. Yeah.
And so many in your audience are, they're healers, or at least they know about muscle testing and so forth. And that's a great way to know which oil.
Okay. That's a good tip. So, all right. Yeah. Do you have any other top tips for benefiting from essential oils?
Well, this may be obvious, but I still want to say it. Walmart oils are not going to give you the therapeutic, they're not going to help you at all. In fact, they may harm you because they're mostly synthetic.
Okay.
So I'm not saying only doTERRA is going to help you. I'm just saying do your research, be sure it's a quality oil, and don't assume that just because it's in a health food store, it's been vetted.
Okay.
And one way to sort of, one quick way to figure out if it's legit or not is if it has, because there's no regulation on labels. You can put anything you want on a label, unfortunately. So if it says all the buzzwords, organic, natural, all those buzzwords,
Mhm.
but then you look in the tiny, tiny print that you almost have to have a magnifying glass
Mhm.
and say we're looking at lemon and organic, pure, natural. And there's a little tiny warning on there, do not ingest. If it's organic, natural, all those things, you should be able to put a drop of that in your water.
Mhm.
Now, most people don't read the labels, so they're putting it in their water anyway. And why would they not? Why can't you? Because on doTERRA's bottle, it will say supplement if you can take it internally. So whether it's, you can't ingest all the oils.
Mhm.
So, don't just assume because it's a health food store that it's legit, or it's going to be a quality oil. It's familiar, but that doesn't mean it's quality. So if you want these healing properties, if you want these, pure, you want pure and potent. And
Mhm.
so just do your homework on that. And then again, just intention is everything. If you are closed-minded about the oils being able to help, then it's going to sabotage what you're trying to do. So
Mhm.
what's the worst that can happen? You don't care for lavender to meditate with, but you can then use it for your skin, issues. You're calming at night. You're not out anything, and it's not going to hurt you.
Mhm. Yeah. Lavender. Side note, I was getting my hair done and I have a very sensitive scalp, and it felt like my scalp was on fire.
Oh,
And so she had essential oils, and so she put some lavender on my scalp, and it took a couple of minutes, but it relieved the pain. So I was like, wow.
but the synthetic lavender can cause the.
Mhm. I think that it was one of the two well-known brands. I can't remember if it was one or doTERRA. So,
Because I thought I hated lavender because I had bought one of those neck wraps that had the lavender scented
mhm,
thing. I
mhm.
put it in the microwave and, used it, and it gave me a headache. So
Ah,
I assumed I didn't like lavender, but
mhm.
that was all synthetic. So I love real lavender.
I love it. Awesome. Thank you. And what is the best way to connect with you, so that way people can reach out and ask you more questions or purchase the oils from you or just have a conversation with you? What's that best way?
My website is RebeccaRussell.com. And I'm mostly on Facebook under the Rebecca Russell.
Okay.
Very easy.
Awesome. We will put those in the show notes. And thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us and taking your time today with us.
Thank you. I really enjoyed it. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.